series, How to Get into TV, Radio and Film, in which I interview a whole host of talented industry professionals about their jobs, what it entails, the pros and cons of what they do, to give you a better insight into all the different positions available in this business, and also the different pathways in this business and what it means to work in TV, radio and film. I also ask my guests to give top tips as to how you too could follow in their footsteps. Now, talking about guests, let me introduce you to my guest today. She's an editor. She has worked on a whole host of projects across documentaries, music videos, and she's currently working freelance at Viceland. Welcome, Heliana Trovato. Hi, Heliana.
Hi, Samina. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So tell me, why did you get involved in your line of work, and why this business?
So I was in university, and I didn't really have like a direction. I didn't know if it was production or what. And then editing just came easy to me. That's the story.
So, were you in this country or were you?
No, back in Buenos Aires. So I went to university in Buenos Aires, and then, yeah, after a few years, I kind of discovered editing, and it was really easy for me. And it really
how did you discover editing? How did you discover it?
I had a boyfriend at the time that he liked editing very much. And I was like, oh, let me try this. And yeah, it was good. And I just stick with it.
And how did you then get involved in the business? Because, you know, to have a boyfriend who shares his passion with you, and for you to think, oh, I'm good at that. But there's a big journey from that.
I know. At the time, I was still studying. I was working a normal job, like administrative kind of, yeah, stupid job. And then I was like, well, I should like start getting into the thing, into the media. So I started applying for loads of jobs. Producer companies mainly, and then a few TV channels. And one of the TV channels called me. So that was my first actual job. So I did learn a lot.
So how many people did you contact? Did you contact a lot of people?
Loads, yes.
Well, yeah. You know, this is really interesting. And this is what I'd like you to share the importance of with, you know, young people watching today who want to create a media. You know, just sending out your CV or your work just to one or two places, it's not enough, is it?
No, it's never enough. At one point, I had like a little software that it was for spam emailing. And that's the way I sent my CVs.
What, group emails to everyone?
Everyone, yeah.
Well, the thing is, that's it. It's about, I think at the beginning, it's about numbers. It's about working on the laws of probability. The more you send out, the more the likelihood of you getting successful.
Exactly, yeah. The more you do, the more you don't really have to wait for someone to hire you to start doing things. I think that's the main thing.
And tell me, what do you like about editing? What is it about this process you love?
Editing is basically telling stories. And that's what we, like, as humans have been doing, like, all the time. Even if you write them, if you paint them, if you, like, we're all telling stories all the time.
And that's how editing
is that. You have a footage, and then you arrange it in a way that tells a story in some particular way. And the same footage that I get, you give to another editor. And the result is going to be different.
And that's the beauty of it as well, isn't it?
Exactly. And you have the power to do everything, though. I love editing. I think it's great.
Yeah. And tell me, you know, you have to work closely with directors and producers. How does that relationship pan out? Because as you've just described to me, you know, different editors can have different interpretations. But also, if you're working with somebody who's filmed footage, they're going to be not precious about it, but you have to understand their vision, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, the best producers and directors that I've worked with, they tell you their idea. They tell you, well, this is what I get, this is what I have, this is what I want. Maybe they go through the footage with you and they say like their ideas, this might, like what I would like as a beginning, and this would be the ending, do what you want in the middle, something like that. And then that is like the skeleton, that's the base, like that, yeah. And then on top of that, then you do whatever you have to do or you want to do.
So you add then your creative flair to that.
Yeah, because there's always room for that, even if you have a script.
And
Because again, that's a skeleton, and then you can convey an idea in different ways, and it's going to be the same result. But then the way you show it and the way you do it, that's your own thing.
And say if you're working with, because what I'm trying to convey here is different personalities having to work together, and given you have to, you know, take on what a producer or director says. Tell me a little bit about human management, how you get on with people and how you have to get on with people in this business, because it's all about teamwork all the time.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. It's not that difficult though. It's not that difficult. Sometimes you don't have room for creativity, and that happens sometimes. But still, you still have something of you in that job. So I think that's important. Even if you don't have the freedom to do whatever you want with your thing, and you have to, like, a director is very precious about the idea, or the producer says like, no, we can't do that, go back to the original idea. You still have some way to jiggle something in.
So to put a bit of yourself into it.
Yeah, because you always put something of you into it, always.
And tell me, how do you deal with, I won't use the word, rejection's a strong word, but say if you create something and somebody says, don't like it, do it again. How do you manage that?
It's very frustrating most of the time. It is the truth, because you're putting a lot of yourself in that. So when it actually doesn't work or something, and then you feel a bit sad because it's like, oh, I liked it so much, and then maybe it doesn't really work. So you have to rearrange it.
Yeah, and you have to kind of let go of your personal attachment to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you feel like, you know, are producers and editors open to you giving ideas, inputting ideas?
Yeah. The best producers and directors that I work with, they do listen to your ideas. Sometimes when we didn't have like time or whatever, I used to do like a timeline with whatever they wanted, and then a second timeline with what I wanted. Yeah. And then you show them that, and then you show the other one, and then maybe you can mix the both together.
And now I'd just like to talk to you about the actual editing process itself. Editing is not just about pictures, although it primarily is. Well, video editing is anyway. You know, there's audio editing, which is separate, but video editing is got sound element to it as well. So as an editor, are you responsible for that, or is the sound given to a different audio team? How does it work?
It depends on the projects. If it's a big project with a big budget, then usually you just do like a skeleton for the sound, and then it goes to the sound guys that they're proper, do like the sound design and the levels and everything, and it looks perfect. But if there is not like a big production or anything, you are in charge of it.
And so what does it mean then? You have to really understand not just visuals, but sound as well, right?
Yeah, you don't get, like, my level of sound is not as like an audio engineer, like, obviously, but you can work with it because you're used to it, because sound is a part of video.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually I work without sound for the most part, and then I start adding the layers. But that depends on the person, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, different editors work in different ways.
Yeah.
For young people watching today who might think, oh, you know, a career as an editor in post-production, that seems quite interesting, you know, creating stories and doing storylines. Yeah. You know, young people, there may be students, they may just have come out of, you know, they may have just graduated, or they may not be working. And, you know, budgets are tight when you're young. I remember I didn't have much money. I had to have several jobs.
I also remember. Yeah.
So what do you advise in terms of, you know, software? Because some of the bigger software packages, they cost money and you have to sign up for them each month, right?
Don't think, I would say for life though, don't think about a lack of money as a barrier though. You can be more creative without money, always. That's a phrase that a friend of mine said one day. And it is true. The thing is, Adobe subscriptions, for example, they're pricey, and then if you don't have like a regular income or something, it could be difficult. You can pair up with some friends though, and use it between 4, and then yeah, you're not going to be able to work at the same time, but still it's going to work. And then I would say tutorials. Internet is filled with tutorials and things. Just watch them. That's for free. Yeah. And you learn a lot. Then you need to practice. Yeah, sure. But then you'll have the base.
And also, you know, individual, whether you use Apple products, a Mac, MacBook or PC, you know, I know because I use Apple products, and they have an inbuilt, you know, app software that you can edit on, even if you don't subscribe to the big ones, you know. Yeah. And I presume the same is of PCs. I don't really use PCs. So there's that option as well, isn't there, to look at what your computer can offer you in terms of
yeah, there is, but I wouldn't really recommend that, because Movie Maker or whatever those, it's like a very basic kind of editing. It could work at some point to be familiar with maybe the process, but I'd say go to Premiere as soon as you can though.
Yeah, well, that's your preferred one. I know other editors prefer other software, but Premiere is one of the biggest ones used in our business, isn't it?
Yeah, and it works on PC and Mac, so it's kind of like universal. Most companies use that, unless you go to Avid.
Yeah, and for those interested in doing editing, what kind of sort of mindset do you need to have? What kind of skill set? I mean, we've talked a little bit about the skill set already. And what kind of person do you need to be? Because it can be quite a solitary job where you're working on your own a lot, right?
Yeah, you have to be very sedentary. I think that's the most important thing. No, you're going to be sitting in front of a computer a lot. So if you don't like that, I think just move on to production or something else. That's more like an action kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you have that, then it's mostly patience, and yeah, and that's it. And I only say patience because when you start a project, you're very like happy and excited and everything. But after the third feedback, you just don't really want to like do the changes anymore. It's like, oh, like it works good as it is. Why do you want me to change it? But sometimes you have to change it, and then you'll have to be prepared for that when you're working with someone else. If you're working on your own, then you can be editing a video for a year maybe, and it's fine. Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, with different productions come different deadlines, different budgets. So sometimes there is not that luxury of working and reworking it and stuff. And sometimes, talk to me about the speed at which you've got to work sometimes, because deadlines are really important in our business.
Yeah, I actually enjoy the deadlines though. That's, yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why people go into TV or they go to film, because the rhythm, it's different. And then they develop of the video changes though.
Well, can you talk about the different rhythms across both disciplines then?
In TV, you go to work one morning, you get the footage in the morning, maybe if you're lucky. Then the producer comes, tells you, and then you have like 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4, to get everything done. And then it's going to air in 1 hour. So there's no, like, you can't afford to have a problem with the machine. You can't afford to have nothing. But that kind of adrenaline is good. And it's also like in a day, you made a show. And then the next day you're going to make another one. And it is a lot of like a rush and stress, because everyone around you is also stressed. So I think that's the, going back to the skills, that could be a good skill. Like you still have to be focused, because everything around you is going to fall apart at some point.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because everyone is stressed and everyone is like, oh, we have 1 hour and a half. And you're like, yes, it's going to be done. And you have to say it in a way that people believe you and just leave you alone for like, so you can actually finish it.
Yeah. And this is particularly true of live shows, which can be really adrenaline filled. And also shows for which are going to air later on in the day, for which you've got to prep all the video packages and so on, right?
During the day, yes.
Yeah. Now talk to me about the film side.
So the film is day by day you receive the footage. Maybe not every day, but still. So you have a bit of time to like do work with that, and then some new batch comes, and then you work with that, and then after maybe 2 months or something, you have like the first skeleton, and then on top, then after that you start like doing the little tweaks and the little like the fine editing. It is nicer because you do have more time, and then when you have more time, I believe like things get a bit better, because the fine editing that changes things.
Yeah,
it's different ways.
Yeah, and working in film can be a slightly longer process, although TV and film are kind of merging into one. A lot of crossover these days. But live shows, as we said, and TV shows, regular TV shows, they require that fast pace. So you've got to be prepared to be calm, to be focused, to be patient, and be ready to just sit and do your work, right? I mean, because like you said,
and have a good attitude and just go for it, and just you have to have the confidence that you can do it.
I have to say, I work as a producer on the producing side of things, and we've worked together. One of my favorite processes, apart from the filming side, is editing, because it's like you said, that's when you can really take everything you've filmed and really create this amazing story. And you can create so many different angles of your footage. You can use your footage to create so many different things as well.
Because that's a magical part about it, though. Maybe you have an idea. That happens in documentaries sometimes. You have an idea, you have it like a plan, everything. You have the footage, and then when you're sitting in front of the computer, you say like, this might like work different if I do this, and then you change the whole thing, and it actually works better.
It's very satisfying, I have to say, going from the idea, preparing pre-production, like all the development before that, and then going into production. It can be a long process depending on the project. Even if it's a short process, that satisfaction you get when you produce something great at the end, at the edit, it's so great. I mean, just share that feeling with the people, young people watching.
I know. And if you have the opportunity to actually edit something, and then maybe in these like live events or something, and then you can actually watch people watching your video, that's great.
Yeah. And tell me, how do you find work? Because you're currently working freelance, but I know you, so I know that you've had staff jobs as well. So just talk to me about how you find jobs and how young people can get a foot through the door, because it's going to be a little bit more obviously challenging from them being at the beginning of their careers.
There's usually there's like a myth that you have to know people to get jobs in media. That's partly true, like in the rest of the world and in the rest of the careers, but it's not necessarily something that you need. The best thing to do is networking, not in like a soulless corporative kind of way, but just working with people, and you get to know these people, and then these people are going to go to a project, and then they're going to call you, and that happens all the time. So just work with anyone who has a project that maybe is appealing to you. Something, anything. Could be a music video, it could be something little like a short movie, anything. Whatever you like, then go into that project and work with people, and that way they will start to move on their own, though.
And what's great about what you said is really hone down what it is you like, because there's so many online groups now and communities of editors and filmmakers and all sorts, and you can then go join these and just have conversations, because that's like networking as well, and share what you do, right?
Because it's just meeting people, it's connecting. At the end of the day, it's only connecting with other human beings, though. So that's the main thing. And then it just happens that you like the same things, and you all want to like do some short movie or some media project, and then it just goes that way organically. You don't like, if you're looking for a job, though, that was another part of the question. Use the websites that we all know. LinkedIn works pretty well now sometimes. So that's mainly, I think, be honest with yourself on what you want and what you like, and then just go for it. And if you're not going to make a lot of money at first. I worked for free like for the first years. But that at some point it results in something good anyway, because you learn, you have experience, you meet some people that maybe they're going to like, yeah, come back at some point in your life to some great projects.
Yeah, I mean, it's about getting out there and getting in the mindset of people. So when they need somebody, they're like, oh yeah, you know, Samina
Exactly.
or Heliana contacted me. I didn't need her then, but maybe I need her now. It does work like that, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, and tell me finally, for all young people, not necessarily just interested in editing, but generally they want to get into TV or radio or film. Just give me your best advice, like who they have to be, you know, to get an into this business.
I don't know.
Just like that kind of approach or something.
Approach, again, I would say attitude. That's half of it all the time. Just go. Don't be intimidated about like a big TV channel or like a small producer companies. Everything basically works the same. We all have the same machines. We all have the same software. At the end of the day, you're going to be editing a video. It doesn't matter for who. So it's, yeah, don't be intimidated by that. Just go. If you like TV, go and apply for all the TV channels that you know. And
yeah, and likewise for radio and for film, just get yourself out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Heliana, it's been really great to learn more about, you know, behind the scenes in post-production. Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you today.
Thank you.
I hope Heliana was of inspiration to all of you who want to work as editors or want to get into the world of post-production. I invite you to join me and my guests each week and get some inspiration for yourself from the professionals who have successful careers. They've done it already, so they've got a lot to share with you and lots of advice to give. For more details of my interviews, of who I'm interviewing and when, please feel free to follow me across my social media platforms and on YouTube. And of course, if you've got any questions for me or you'd like to, you know, pose a question to any of my guests, then get in touch. Likewise, if you want any more information about my series, feel free to get in touch. Many thanks for watching and see you next time.